Here's the deck, so we're sitting up here looking down into the valley to the north. And in behind me here will be a picture window that you can sit inside, actually look out that window and see the view.
Shawn James is a well-known figure on YouTube, celebrated for his naturalist, self-reliant lifestyle and the building projects he shares. Naturally, anyone remotely interested in self-reliant living has likely heard of Shawn, but only a few know that he wasn't served all this on a silver platter. Join us as we tell you what you didn't know about Shawn James's life. Shawn James was born on April 10, 1970 in Newmarket, Canada. He didn't just wake up one morning and decide to build a homestead. No, instead, wildlife was built into his system from a very young age. From learning to fish off the dock on his grandparents' trailer in the Honey Harbour to walks in the forest, Shawn had found a home in the wild as a young boy. But his real calling was realized when Shawn's mother gave him the book Two Little Savages. Authored by Ernest Thompson Seton, one of the founders of the Boy Scouts of America, the book inspired him to build a small winter shelter with pieces of split-rail fence when he was just 12. As a kid, Shawn and his friends took a week-long canoe trip from 6 Mile Lake to Georgian Bay, followed by another on the French River in Canada the next year. Years of outdoor adventures sharpened his vision for a life of wilderness, resilience, and self-reliance, qualities that would later lead him to build his own off-grid cabin. Shawn James grew up reading Henry David Thoreau, an American naturalist. Particularly, it was his book Walden that inspired Shawn to live a simple, off-grid life in solitude. In 2019, Shawn revealed that he was also heavily inspired by naturalist legend Dick Pronoke, whose cabin he also got to visit and actually spent a few days in. For those who don't know, Pronoke lived alone in the wilderness for nearly 30 years. That explains why Shawn decided to purchase land in Whitestone Lake to give solo living a shot as soon as he had some money as a young man. He collected the money by working in roofing and construction at a very young age, but soon the reality of the situation dawned on him. He had to pay taxes. He'd been fishing, hunting and building for 5 years in his cabin when he was reminded of real-life challenges. Taxes. Pronoke, Shawn's idol, started his remote living at 54 when he had saved up enough for cover for a small cabin, but he was just 21. With no savings and completely hand-to-mouth, Shawn realized that his lifestyle wasn't sustainable just yet. So, with a goal and a focus, he returned to the city. Shawn James's younger years weren't easy financially, and he was going through a tough time personally as well. At 19, he describes himself as a non-serious guy who women wouldn't want to consider for marriage. As a teenager, he was cheated on by his then-girlfriend, which pushed him into a dark place. This was around the time he had returned home to work regular jobs, leading to a period of self-doubt. Shawn says he didn't think he was good enough or that he'd ever find a woman who'd want to settle down with him. That's when he started reflecting and reading about business and self-help to improve himself. 5 years after getting cheated on, he met his now wife Jocelyn. They hit it off right away, and his relationship with her inspired him to work on himself and his career. Shawn describes Jocelyn as a supportive partner, a business collaborator, and the mother of his children. When people see Shawn's millions of followers today, they often overlook the challenges he faced as a young man. Shawn James's financial struggles are a lesser-known aspect of his journey, but they're precisely what shaped him into the man he is today. When Shawn returned to the regular ways of the world to make money and pay taxes, he opted for work that required hard labor, like sheet metal work, commercial roofing, and structural engineering. While building his commercial roofing business, he was learning how to create a sustainable and safe home from scratch. This business focused on custom metalwork projects, which included everything from creating sheet metal ductwork to custom pieces for commercial and residential spaces. He was able to set up a thriving roofing business that earned him enough money to buy properties. Then came the 2007 recession, and Shawn lost everything. His properties were his only investments because the business was tanking. That's when Shawn realized that he was not cut out for the life of a business that requires constant hustle, competition, and endless networking. Shawn was once again struggling financially when he learned that the daughter of his business partner was making good money by posting on YouTube. Initially, Shawn thought people would find it weird when a guy his age would make YouTube videos, but then he came across Larry Hyatt, a smaller YouTuber who posted similar content and looked the same age as Shawn. Shawn had a talent and an idea. Most importantly, he was desperate. He created a YouTube channel, but that idea was set on the back burner as he struggled through a difficult financial period. He decided to sell his business, get rid of the debt, and invest that money into buying property somewhere remote. Finally, he used his money to purchase land in an unorganized township near Algonquin Provincial Park in Ontario and began construction. Though he'd left city life behind, Shawn still worked non-stop, writing for Ontario Tourism about self-reliance. The positive response inspired him to share more directly through YouTube. Shawn already had a channel that he created in 2013, but it was in 2015 that he published his first video titled Algonquin Park Solo 6-Day Canoe Camp Fishing Trip. The video currently sits at 121,000 views, but initially it roped in a few like-minded people who enjoyed Shawn's content. It wasn't anything huge, but he continued to push out content for those people who regularly watched and waited for his videos. Shawn never gave up, and this quality would earn him his first viral video in 2018 called Log Cabin Building Time-Lapse, built by one man alone in the forest. From people resharing his clips to clips going viral on TikTok and Facebook, Shawn had become the new face of self-reliance. By this time, he had learned to reinvest his money back into YouTube, but his adversaries weren't yet over. As Shawn gained recognition, more people in real life began to identify and were envious of his success. While he had built a safe haven for himself and his family, that haven became less secure due to his rising fame on the platform. A malicious neighbor had started recording videos of Shawn and his family's daily life for unknown reasons.
These people were targeting me specifically because of my YouTube channel. They were harassing me to the point that the police threatened them with criminal harassment if they did it again.
He would sometimes make creepy and loud noises when Shawn was filming outdoors. To add to that, he displayed off behavior towards his family, which obviously put Shawn at unease. Shawn was tolerating the creepy behavior, but then his neighbor's recording equipment was stolen, the same equipment he used to record Shawn's family. The neighbor blamed the YouTuber for stealing his stuff, and when nothing came of it, he resorted to threats against his family. The entire ordeal had significantly impacted Shawn and his family's mental health, and the ongoing construction around his property was another reason why the YouTuber decided to make the big decision to move. Giving up on his first real home was a life-changing but difficult decision for Shawn, but it was something that needed to be done, considering the safety threat looming in his neighborhood. In December 2020, Shawn finally moved out of his log cabin near Algonquin Park to build a new homestead in Huntsville, Ontario. This one is fashioned out of 100 trees and extends up to 100 acres of property. According to Shawn, this construction took less time thanks to the experience he gained from building his first cabin. His family didn't live with him during construction, but visited him for camping and canoeing. On a usual day, it would be Shawn, his golden retriever Callie, and his tools. For this homestead, he also added a warm sauna to keep warm during the cold. This home is bigger, safer, and much more remote than the last one. Now that he has a stable home, Shawn's content revolves more around self-reliance guides and smaller structures. Sometimes it's a video on chicken coop constructions, and other times he posts about growing food in the wilderness. His content on My Self-Reliance is still helpful, but it feels more comforting than ever. The picturesque views, soothing music, and a life free from all the noise provides a calming source of peace. Knowing everything Shawn has gone through to earn this life makes his videos feel even more calming and profound. His other channel, Shawn James, provides a clearer look into his personal life, library, and everyday routine, and sometimes his thoughts. It'd be interesting to see what's next for Shawn, but for now, he seems focused on deepening his connection with nature, honing his self-sufficiency skills, and sharing insights from his journey with his audience.